Hello, we are
Paula Saez
and Magdalena Villarreal, and today we are going to present an analysis based on an English teacher's practice from our eLab. To do so, we are going to make a review of the school in order to have a better understanding of the context of its context. Then we will explain what and how we did this analysis in order to have a better understanding about it. After this, we are going to define some concepts that we're going to use for our analysis so we can all manage the same technical language. Furthermore, we will do the actual analysis based on the audios that we record. Finally, we will expose our conclusions and limitations. But first, the objective of this analysis is to analyze an English teacher's practice and to understand the approach behind it. The general context is that we analyze English teacher's practice. So a teacher who works at Liceo Santa María de las Condes, that is a public school located in Las Condes, and it belongs to Corporación Municipal de Las Condes. This school is a mixed school, but boys and girls are separated. So on one side of the school are all the boys, and the other side just the girls. It has primary and secondary education and is a humanistic and scientific school. In the class that we observe is a class from 10th grade, and it has a method called duplicidad. That is to say that the boys who has lower marks with the girls who have lower marks are in one classroom, and the ones who have better marks are in the other classroom with another teacher. So we focus our analysis because we think that it will be more interesting to see the ones who have lower marks. The teacher that we analyze, it has worked there for 4 years, and this method called duplicidad has been applied since 2013.
Okay, what did we do? We observed and recorded an audio of a class and to analyze the approaches behind of the teacher's practices. And how did we do it? We observed the class and took notes, and at the same time we were recording the class in an audio. Moreover, we took pictures in order to show you the class organization, and finally we analyzed those audios and choose some parts of it as samples.
The theoretical framework, these are the concepts that we use.
And the first one is approach. We want to define these concepts in order to clarify our analysis. The first one is approach, and according to the HADA, an approach is usually understood as the body of linguistics, psychological and pedagogical theories which inspire the teaching practice.
The method that we define it as the systematic principles and procedures that a teacher has. According to the HADA in 2005, it says the method involves content, objectives, materials, procedures, and assessment. There are different kinds of methods, and one of them is traditional grammar method.
According to Xia, traditional grammar, it values the old language model, emphasizes written language, neglects oral language, it tries to purify language and settle language, so it's called prescriptive grammar.
According to learning, will be understanding by us, that is the process of getting knowledge or acquire a new skill. In this case will be the learn a second language. And teaching will be considered for us as the method and approach that a teacher has and the characteristics of her way of teaching. According to Barbados, the basic model of language teaching methodologies consists of the following 5 parts. That is who teaches whom, what and how, and through what teaching aids.
Also, I want to define grammar translation method. And in this method, there are 4 important stages of characteristics that they have. The first one is to translate foreign language into one's mother tongue. The second one is oral language ability is not to the goal of this kind of teaching. Teachers are the absolute authorities in the classroom. And finally, language firm, example grammar, is empathizes. According to all information gathering, and as we could see in the classroom, teacher was focused on content because her activities were based on grammar rules. According to that practice, we could infer that the teacher's approach could be traditional grammar. In the next samples, teacher portrayed us those ideas.
Sample 1. The teacher introduced a new activity. The students had to complete the sentences using a, an, some, or any.
Ya, chiquillos. Number 3. Complete the following dialogue with a, an, some, or any. Ya. ¿Qué dice la instrucción? Muy bien. ¿Vamos a ver el match, el many y todo eso? No. ¿Cuándo vamos a usar I am? Primero cuando nos refiramos a uno. Very good. A, consonante, and, vowel. ¿Cuándo usamos some? Positivo. Y any?
Negativo y pregunta.
Very good. ¿Estamos?
Sample 2. The teacher was explaining the difference between much and many. Meanwhile, students must complete their worksheet by filling the gaps.
Many se va a usar para los contables, much para los incontables. Significando lo mismo. Many, mucho, much, mucho. ¿Entiendes? El significado en español es lo mismo. Si ustedes me dicen, profe, ¿cómo digo mucho? Yo te voy a decir, depende de lo que quieras decir. Si quieres decir muchas manzanas, ¿qué va a decir? Many apples. Pero si quieres decir mucha sal,
sería
much sal. ¿Por qué? Porque la sal is an uncountable noun and apples are countable. Por eso.
In those samples, teacher was explaining the difference between the use and the functioning of the certain words, reinforcing content and how she has said, empathizing written language. Therefore, students could not practice listening or speaking, but they could practice writing. And regarding Shia, it is the center of traditional grammar.
Well, according to the teacher's practice, we also could infer that teacher used grammar translation method because we couldn't, first of all, something that called our attention was that she always translate immediately what she says in English, even though the students didn't ask for any translation. She also sometimes start a sentence in English then continues in Spanish and finished this in English. So we call this as Span-English, as we can see in the next audio.
Sample 3. The teacher continued checking the activity of how many and how much.
3. Sería Annie. Ya, pero tenemos que cambiarlo adelante también. Kevin ate some vegetables. Ate es el pasado del verbo eat.
Kate,
Dice Kate comió. Kevin comió.
Kate comerá.
Ya, pues, ¿y qué más tengo que hacer? Eat. No, porque tengo que hacer lo negativo. Did not. Eat. Y ahora sí. Any vegetables.
Luego eso peludo.
O sí.
Sample 4. The teacher was explaining the activity on the board called grammar correction.
Aquí dice, check your grammar. Ya que hicimos all the review. Check your grammar, error correction. ¿Qué vamos a hacer? Very good. Correctivos. Dice, uncountable nouns. Correct the mistake in these sentences. Lean las oraciones, tienen 5 minutos para corregir el error. Háganlo en silencio. Piensen, fíjense en lo que hemos repasado. Fíjense en lo que hemos... Evidentemente el error va a estar en el quantifier. Así que fíjense bien en eso. Corrijan el error. El error no está en lo que dice. El error puede estar en el quantifier, esté mal utilizado, esté en un quantifier de incontable por un contable. ¿Ya?
Our second argument to say she used grammar translation is her class was totally teacher-centered. Due to when students answer correctly, teacher gave them a positive stimuli. And vice versa. If students answer incorrectly, she yelled them or just ignored them. For example, as we can see in this sample.
Sample 5. Teacher was asking students about content. Students had to answer those questions.
¿Cuándo vamos a usar I am? Primero cuando nos refiramos a uno. Very good. A, consonante, and, vowel. ¿Cuándo usamos some? Positivo. Y any.
Negativo y pregunta.
Well, she said to their students, very good, and it is a positive stimuli. Regarding Shanghua, in grammar translation method, students are successful when they answer correctly a question about grammar.
Additionally, we could see that the teacher is main authority in the classroom because she decides everything and she controls the students and she whatever she wants. An example of that is the next audio.
Sample 6. In this sample, you can notice the many times that a girl asks for permission in order to go to the bathroom.
¿Tiempo en el baño ahora? No. ¿Hay tiempo en el baño de verdad?
Well, this girl repeated at least 8 times that she wanted to go to the bathroom, but the teacher just ignored her or yells, no, you can't go, or just no. Class were totally focused on grammar because, the activity that she did in the class that we saw was called grammar correction. So, we believe that it's important to practice the passive skills However, we don't think that is a proper way because they not only just correct the mistakes that they see in the worksheet, but the teacher always translate everything, even if students don't ask for translation.
On the other hand, our limitations were I just observe one class, at least me, and maybe it could be a little bit biased because maybe in this class teacher was grammar oriented, but what happens in other classes? I never gonna know about it.
Yeah.
However, my super was Macarena, who had more opportunities to observe classes because the school were in
my lab.
Yeah. And so
Yeah, so that is why just Paula trust on what I have observed in other classes. Well, that will be our presentation about the skills and approaches in an English teacher practice.